guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing on with our tier list rankings of all of the primary weapons in Battlefield 1. We've already ranked all 16 assault weapons, and so we will be moving on to the 11 medic rifles. Before we start, I will admit that I am a little biased when it comes to the medic class, as it is by far my favourite of the 4 available in Battlefield 1. However, it is also the class I feel is the most balanced, as the weapon viability tends to follow a uni-model distribution for all my math nerds out there. Also, this video is completely unscripted with just my raw thoughts on the weapons, and a few stats that I have memorized because at this point I've made way too many videos on this game. With that out of the way guys, let's get right into the video. Okay, kicking us off, we're going to start in the D tier, because I have no weapons that fall in E tier for the medic class. So because of that, the only weapon that I feel is fun until you need to shoot someone, or in this case fun until you need to shoot more than one person, is the Selbstlader 1906. Now, the Selbstlader 1906 actually isn't that bad. It only has 5 rounds in the magazine, which is its biggest downfall. However, it deals 35 to 40 damage across basically all ranges. It's a 2-shot kill with a headshot at all ranges, and it's a 3-shot kill no matter what in other circumstances. Because of that, it's actually really decent when you have to kill only one person. The issue arises in the fact that its moving shot accuracy, it's atrocious. It's really bad. There's so many times where the bullets just do not travel where you are aiming the second you move slightly. On top of that, it fires quite quickly. I think at around 300 rounds per minute. So you go through those bullets extremely fast. The issue then becomes when you try and play aggressive. When you try and play aggressive, which with the weapon's DPS output you'd think would be the way you would play with the weapon, you over-rely on your secondary, because basically you take one guy out, the rest of the squad will turn around to engage you, but you now need to reload because you don't have the ammo left to engage another fighter. So you need to bring out the secondary and then hope that that will carry you to a win. Because of that, if you play with a squad, particularly on operations, for example, you sit back at the mid-range, play with the team, pick up your allies, and just pick people off as they try to approach you, you can have great success with this thing, because it will out-DPS almost everything within its ideal range. Just the issue for me is, I don't play that way. I'm impatient, and I like going for clips, so I play very aggressively. I am the medic that is looking to push up with his assault players and keep them alive while also trying to frag out as much as possible. So the Selbstlader 1906 doesn't really work for me. If you have a different playstyle, you can very easily move this up in your rankings all the way up to B tier, quite frankly. I've seen some people absolutely slay out with this thing. But for me, the way I play, we're going to keep it down to D. Moving on to C tier, I've got 2 guns here. These are the weapons that, compared to everything else in the game, are just kind of average. The first one of the 2 is the Serigoti, which is actually the medic starting rifle. It's the first rifle you get at rank 0 with no company points or whatever they're called. I actually don't remember, I haven't had to use them in so long. And it's probably the most well-balanced starting weapon out of the 4 available, because the other ones are the SMLE and the MP18 and whatever the support gun is. The fact that I can't remember the support one tells me the Serigoti is better than that. Now the Serigoti has 10 rounds fed by 2 5-round stripper clips. It fires at, I think, 360, or is it 300 rounds per minute? I can't quite remember. But it is one of the only 3 weapons in the medic class that are capable of full auto fire. Now, Its TTK it's pretty decent from close range actually, and particularly with the trench variant, you can get kind of aggressive with this thing, and it can frag out with some assault rifles. The only issue is, compared to everything else, it just falls midline with everything. It's got middle of the pack reload speed, especially since it goes off of stripper clips. It's got middle of the pack fire rate, middle of the pack damage profile, middle of the pack range. It's just, there's nothing about it that makes it excel at one thing. But then, unlike the MP18, where I say it's a jack of all trades, master of being the jack of all trades, it doesn't have anything that's even in remotely close to the B tier, in my opinion, that can push it forward. It's average at anything. You can slay out with this weapon, but there are better things available. In the same frame of mind, the other weapon in the C tier I have is the Mondragon. The Mondragon is essentially the Sabrigotti. You just take away some of the rounds per minute and the full auto fire capability for better range performance. This thing, where the Sabrigotti is more of a close to mid-range weapon, the Mondragon is more of a mid to long-range weapon. Back when the game first launched, the Mondragon was probably the most prevalent medic rifle out there, just because it's so consistent, or it was so consistent, and performed so well at range. And on top of that, the other baseline medic rifles started out pretty weak before there was a bunch of buffs handed out. However, as time went on, I can't remember if the Mondragon got nerfed. I don't think it did, but I feel like the rest of the weapons got buffed. And they were buffed enough that the Mondragon sort of just dropped down tiers from being the best in class to slowly wheedled out until where it is now, where it's pretty average. It's fairly average, which goes to show how bad the medic class was at launch, quite frankly. It was a hard life being a medic at the beginning of Battlefield 1. But yeah, once again, at this point in the game, the Mondragon does reasonably well at everything. It's fairly good at that mid to long range if you want something that's just got no recoil and fires fast enough that you can outshoot some snipers, some LMGs. It'll get the job done, but it's not going to outperform anything that I have above in this list for certain reasons that I've yet to discuss. So for now, C tier, we've got the Sabrigotti and the Mondragon. Alright, let's move on to B tier. Now in B tier I have 4 weapons. The first of the 4 is the Farquhar Hill, or as I like to call it, the Lord Farquaad rifle. Now the Lord Farquaad rifle to me is basically a Mondragon, because they fire at the same fire rate, with slightly less range but more ammo. The Lord Farquaad, unlike the Mondragon being a 3-shot kill at all ranges, is a 3-shot from 0 to 59 meters. However, it has a 20-round drum magazine compared to 10 rounds loaded by stripper clips with the Mondragon. That alone is enough to put it above the Mondragon from me, because the vast majority of engagements on this game, you are not going to be exceeding 59 meters. And even when you do, it's still a 4-shot kill or a 3-shot kill if you land a headshot. So that's very, very doable in the very select amount of circumstances that you're exceeding that 3-shot kill range. On top of that, it's very, very consistent if you're not shooting while moving. The moving shot accuracy can be a bit iffy at times, but as long as you're pacing your shots, you're making sure to stop moving when you shoot, which you really have to do with all of the self-loading rifles anyway. It's very, very consistent, and its hipfire accuracy is quite underrated, I feel. It can save you a lot of times in those very close range engagements. So, in my opinion, it is, to keep it simple, it's just a better Mondragon because it has more ammo. That's really it. Plus, you've got to give it some points for its sound design. It sounds really, really cool. It's very unique. And its sights as well. It has, like, sort of the iconic M16 iron sights, and it's stylish, it's cool, it's well-rounded, and it's got nothing really wrong going for it. It's just a better Mondragon. That's really it. The next one I have is the General Lu. Now, people are probably going to look at me and be like, But Cole, it just has the same downfall as the Self-Line 1906. It's only got like 6 rounds, man. You're right, it does only have 6 rounds. I'm glad you can count. However, this one is literally a sniper rifle. You can quite literally turn this into an infantry sniper rifle, bolt action with a sweet spot, by using the select fire control. And because of that, it is the only actual true sniper rifle available in the medic class. That alone puts it at B tier. But the fact that you can cycle between its bolt action fire mode and its self-loading rifle capabilities makes it incredible, because basically, particularly on maps like Sinai Desert, if you get caught out in the middle of open and you are forced to challenge some sniper, simply hit V on your keyboard, you now have a Gewehr 98 in your hands, because it has the exact same sweet spot and damage profile. I think its bullet velocity is a little bit slower, but you essentially have a Gewehr 98 infantry in your hands, and you can now ruin his day. You can absolutely ruin his day. But then the second that guy's dead, and you push forward and you're now on the C or B objective, switch back to the normal at fire mode. And now you have a 3-shot kill DMR that performs extremely similarly to the Seragotti again. Actually, no, it performs more similarly to the Mondragon. So, if the only downside to having a pocket sniper rifle DMR hybrid is the 6-round magazine, I will take the 6-round magazine. Simple as that. The 6-round magazine does prevent it from being anything higher, unfortunately. But it's so unique and cool that I have to leave it here. Like, it's just super fun to use, and you can slay out with this, and you get, because not many people know about the select fire options, even nowadays. You get people accusing you of hacking, and that is the funniest ever. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. If you haven't used it already, give the General Lou a try. General Lou's in B tier. Now, for the final 2 weapons, I'm actually going to group them together for the B tier, and that's the Howl Automatic and the Selbstlader M1916. Now, the reason these 2 are grouped together here is because they perform very, very similarly. It's sort of like the Seragotti Mondragon situation, where the Howl Automatic has a faster fire rate, but slightly worse range, whereas the Selbstlader 1916 has a slower, faster rate, but better range. They both have quite high bullet velocities, have 20 to 26 round magazines that reload fairly quickly, and they fill similar roles where they excel as the mid to long range options, particularly with the sniper and marksman variants. However, at the same time, they also have decent enough performance to keep them working at closer ranges, but they excel as counter-sniper weapons. On top of that, basically everything else is the same. They have very similar bullet velocities, very similar reload times, and similar scope magnifications, all of these things. It basically comes down to, if you want to have a bit better close range performance, pick the Howl Automatic, and then if you want better long range performance, pick the Selbstlader M1916. It's simple as that. If I had to choose between the 2, I would lean towards the Howl Automatic, because once again, I play more aggressively with this class, and on top of that, the Howl also has a bipod, which you can leverage to give yourself better aimed accuracy over extended ranges. But overall, B tier. B tier. Alright, moving on to A tier, top tier wood smash weapons. We've got 3 in this category. The first of them is the auto-loading. Now, when I mean the auto-loading, I don't mean the auto-loading 3.5, because although the auto-loading 3.5 Marksman and Factory, they're still fairly solid weapons. They got very fast TTKs. They only have 5 rounds in the magazine. However, the auto-loading 8.25, the extended variant with 16 rounds in the magazine, is absolutely bonkers. It is so fun. It is so good to use. It doesn't fire full auto, but at 360 rounds per minute max fire rate, unless you are Jesus, it maxes out the tap fire. You can fire it as fast as you want, tap firing. Because of that, this thing is probably my favorite weapon at close range. This is the aggressive medic rifle you want if you want to play with your assault players and push people on Argonne Forest, Fort de Vaux, basically any map that requires you to be in people's face and you want to play medic, you pick the auto-loading 8.25 extended. Its optimal TTK is incredible. It's got almost no recoil. It's got a bit of muzzle flash, so that can be hard to get over at first, but just use your eyes, you'll be fine. And yeah, it just bang, 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 bang. Anyone close to you, they're dead. You can wipe out whole squads with this thing, because at close range, it's a 3-shot kill. Sure, its damage performance over range can drop off quite severely, because it does only use pistol caliber ammunition. But once again, it has no recoil because it uses pistol caliber ammunition in a rifle frame. So if you are forced to engage someone at longer range, either A, just use your skills of moving and avoid the bullets, or B, tap fire. You can still do reasonably well, and its headshot multiplier is fairly high, all things considered, with decent bullet velocity despite the fact that it's got pistol rounds. And for an aggressive medic weapon, I don't know what else you'd want. Sure, you can ask for full auto capabilities, but you don't really need it. If anything, the full auto capabilities would probably make it less satisfying because you don't have to be sitting there spamming the trigger. Overall, auto-loading, top tier would smash, A tier. I would put it S tier, but the 8.35 ones do hold it back a little bit. Don't get me wrong, they are still incredible. They're 3-shot kills at almost any range. But once again, 5 rounds in a magazine for a weapon that takes 3 shots to kill is too little, but those things are skill cannons. If you are really good at the game, use those things, you'll slay out. Second weapon I have in this category is the Fedorov Avtomat. I've probably butchered that pronunciation. I'm Australian, not Russian, I'm sorry. But the Fedorov is, if you don't like the auto-loading as an aggressive rifle, you pick the Fedorov, because it is a 26-round, fully auto assault rifle that has fairly reasonable mid-range performance, and then can perform at close range extremely well. When it first came out, I swear it was better. Like, this thing was easily S tier compared to everything else when this thing first came out. And I don't know if they just nerfed this, or they buffed everything else again. I can't remember. But I remember when I first picked it up again for the first time in like a year or two, I was kind of disappointed. Like, it disappointed me. It didn't feel the same. That's because I was using the trench variant. The second I picked up the optical variant, I was like, ah, it's my Fedorov! I got my Fedorov back! Oh my god, yes! I don't know what's happened with the trench variant, but for some reason the trench variant can no longer kill anyone when ADS'd. Whereas the optical is a laser beam. That thing is a laser beam. And it still has decent enough hipfire performance that you can still hipfire it at close range very well. And while its bullet velocity isn't that high, I think it's only at like 400 and something meters per second, that is to encourage you to get aggressive with the weapon. But even at 460 meters per second or so, you still will outkill assaults because you have a higher damage profile. I think it's a 4 to 5 shot kill at best. I don't think it's a 3-shot kill at close range, but it fires fast enough that the 4 shots are gonna hit faster than basically anything else except for extremely fast firing weapons. It's excellent. If you've never tried the Fedorov, give it a try. You will slay out. It's super easy to use. It's sort of those weapons that I would say is super easy to use, but it's not something that will slay out against the best things. What do we call that? It's got high floor, low ceiling. That's what I'd say. High floor, low ceiling. Also, it has the best legendary skin in the game. The Kerensky is gorgeous. I nearly had an orgasm when I got it, so take that for as you will. The final weapon in A tier is the M1907 self-loading, the SL. This weapon used to be S tier for me. However, I'm gonna keep it real with you. As of recently, I cannot use this thing whatsoever. I don't know what is going on, because I know it hasn't received any changes, because the devs abandoned this game like 3-4 years ago at this point. I don't... It just... The bullets do not seem to want to go where I'm firing. When the weapon works... Oh my god, the weapon works. It's a 3-shot kill up to 30, 40-ish meters. It's essentially... It's a Mondragon range-wise performance if the Mondragon had the full auto capability of the Seirakoti. I'm talking about the sweeper variant here. The factory variant is also good if you want to mitigate its bounce, but overall the sweeper variant is the best of the three. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Just as of recently, maybe I've just gotten worse, but it seems incredibly inconsistent. The bullets just do not seem to fly where you're aiming, even if you're standing still, so you remove the moving shot multiplier. It's... Rather than firing straight, they fire... Like, you can visibly see it. Rather than going that way, they seem to go like that. So half the time, I'm aiming directly at someone, and then the bullet's flying around their shoulders. Or I'll be aiming... I'll clearly try and, like, at quick scope to aim towards someone, and I'll be slightly off of them. But the bullet still hits. It feels super inconsistent. And so because of that, you could very easily put this lower if your feelings towards this inconsistency are even worse. However, when this gun works, it can easily be the best gun in the entire game. It is that good. It's just... I don't know. I genuinely... This gun stumps me. It stumps me. So, I'm going to leave it A tier. Finally, S tier. The best weapon in the medic class. This gun is not the easiest to pick up. It's not the easiest to grab for the first time and instantly slay out. However, when you get used to it, you will destroy everyone. Its TTK will destroy everyone. And that weapon is the RSC 1917. This weapon has by far the lowest floor and the highest ceiling, because you need to be able to aim with this gun, because it only has 6 rounds. It fires at only 180 rounds per minute. However, it is a 2-shot kill at almost every range. I think at like plus 80 meters it becomes a 3-shot kill. But if you're engaging someone at plus 80 meters, you're not using medic rifles, you should be using snipers. But anything within that range, you are 2-shotting. And at 100 rounds per minute, if you fire it as fast as it can and hit both shots you require, you out DPS everything except for like the Annihilator and the Automatico within the 8 meters that they have the highest DPS in the game. The RSC 1917, in the hands of a good player, is bonkers. It's ridiculous. The amount of times you will just be playing, you get shot once and your brain registers, oh god, I've been shot, time to move. But by the time that thought has registered, you're then dead. And you're sitting there thinking, oh, I must have just been dinked by some scout rifle. No, it's an RSC guy 78 meters away. You don't even see him, and he's just absolutely murdered you. It is ridiculous how good the RSC 1917 can do. Once again, I will state, it takes some getting used to. It's not the easiest gun to just pick up and go off with. But once you have got it down packed, it's slight little jumps. You learn how to manage its recoil. You learn to, in between shots, to stop moving to get rid of its moving shot multiplier. Or if you are playing aggressive with it, you learn how to move with it. Once you have learnt all of that and got it down pat, there is no one that is stopping you. That is how crazy this weapon is. I'd argue that I'm more scared of this thing than an SMG Await 18, However, I don't get mad when I die to this thing, because I know that this weapon at least takes some skill to use. It's quite frankly OP. You just gotta be good at the game. Thank you all for making it to the end of the video. Once again, let's get the YouTubery stuff out of the way. If you liked the video, like the video, and if you are new around here and you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe with post notifications turned on, so that way you don't miss when I drop similar videos to this on the support and scout classes. Once again, if you want to see all of the rankings for the assault class, check the link in the top of the video description below, and I will apologize for not getting this video up sooner. I've been sick, so I haven't really been able to talk. But yeah, guys, that's about it. That's all I've got for you. Appreciate you for making it to the end of the video. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, but it's been cool, guys. Peace out.